Hi friend, thanks for joining me today. My name is Eliza and I run the macrame business Rosie the Wanderer. I make all kinds of macrame from wall hangings to plant hangers to keychains and everything in between. If you are here today, you have ordered a plant hanger kit from me, and thank you so much for that. I'm so excited to teach you how to make this plant hanger. This is our example today. So this is what we'll be making. I just have a little fake plant for display in here today. We'll be going step by step through the whole process. So you'll learn a lot of knots. You'll learn how to put them all together and make something that you can use in your own home. I'm so excited to teach you how to do this. Hang in there with me and we're gonna all get through this together. It's gonna be so fun and you're gonna learn some really awesome new skills. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is introduce you to your kit. We have quite a few things in there and it's all gonna help us in our macrame process today. Number one, we have a wooden hoop. We have this wooden hoop to create our plant hanger on, and we also have a metal hook. We are going to hang the hoop from the hook. Now, if you have a curtain rod or an area where you can put this hook, that's fantastic. If you don't, you can just put this hoop right on a nail in the wall. Easy as that. I like to hang it on my rack here like this. A clothing rack would do just fine as well. Again, a curtain rod works great too. Whatever you have is fine. We also have a small bundle and a large bundle. We'll be using both of those, and you need to provide your own scissors today, so grab some of those and we'll get started. All right, here we go. Let's set it up. We have a large bundle and small bundle. The small one we won't need just yet, so put that one to the side. Beautiful. All right, we have a large bundle as well. Now it's rolled up kind of neatly. There should be 8 strings in there. So unroll it, let it go, shake it, shake it, shake it. Count your cords. I'm gonna call them strings or cords, whichever one works. Macrame is all kinds of materials. You can make it with whatever you'd like, but I use 100% natural cotton cord, so I call them cords, strings. Either of those will do. So count your cords, count your strings. There are 8. Go ahead and take the end and thread it through your hoop. Good, and pull it all the way so that the ends are kind of even. Now they don't have to be perfect. Mine are close, but not perfect, and that's okay. As long as they're around the same spot, then we're good. All right, so our first knot today is called a gathering knot. That's this lovely starter knot up here. For this knot, we will need our second set of cords. So our second bundle, you can go ahead and grab that. Grab one of those cords and let the other just drop. You can hang it up, put it wherever you need to. We're just using one cord right now. Go ahead and find the end. Good. Now take that end and place it so that there's a tail sticking up. You see it sticking up through that hoop? Sticking up. Pinch it with your thumb and create with your other hand a loop that is just longer than the size of your hand there. So this loop you will also pinch. So I have 2 pieces of that cord pinched. I have a tail sticking up, and I'm going to take my hand that has the rest of that cord, the long part, and wrap it around nice and snug below that wooden hoop. Now we want to continue wrapping that cord, that long cord, around and around and around. Now you see that little tail is still sticking up. Don't wrap it in there. Make sure it stays sticking up the whole time. And start wrapping that cord around and around and around. And we are going to go all the way down to the bottom to the point where we can stick our hand or our finger through the hoop. We have a little hoop left. So you can go ahead and work all the way down to the point where you have a little bit of your hoop left where you can stick your finger through it, and I'll meet you there. All right, so we just wrapped our entire gathering knot. We have a little bit of that cord left, that long cord, and we have a hoop left. Remember, we had enough that we could stick our finger through it. Now we are going to take the rest of that cord that we just wrapped for this entire knot, and we are going to thread it through that loop, that hoop at the bottom of our knot. Now we have a cord that went straight through that loop. All we have to do now is pull this top tail. Pull it, pull it, pull it, and your knot, pull it, pull it, pull it, your knot will hide up inside of your gathering knot. So you just tied a knot up inside. If you want to make sure it's really tight, give those two tails a pull. You have two tails now, give them a nice snug pull. That'll make sure it's nice and tight for you. And if you lost your tail, that's okay. Sometimes when we pull this top tail, we lose this bottom cord up inside. That's okay. Don't worry about that. As long as we have a top tail and a bottom tail and we can't see that little knot that we just tied, it's hiding under here, we are good to go. So we want to cut off these two tails now, right? Because they don't match the rest of our plant hanger. We don't need them. They did their job. We're happy with them. Grab your scissors. Yes. And cut as close as you can to your gathering knot without cutting that big knot itself. All right, so we have two cuts, top and bottom. Cut off that extra cord. Good. All right, so look at how beautiful you did it. Such a good job. Now you tied your first macrame knot. You are a macrame master. Get ready for the next one. We're going to do some square knots. All right, friend, next up is our square knot. Now, if you've ever tied a friendship bracelet, you've tied a square knot. I'm very sure of it. They are very simple, very fun. You get kind of into a groove with them, so let yourself, once you get the hang of it, let yourself kind of enjoy them, relax into it. What we want to do for this part is to separate into 4 sections. There are 4 sections of square knots up here. We want 4 sections of square knots. So we will be using 4 cords at a time because I have 16 cords total. So we will be using 4 cords at a time to make each section of square knots. So you can go ahead and separate 4 cords. Make sure they're neighbors. So just 4 next to each other is fine. Doesn't have to be any particular order as long as they're kind of close to each other up there by that gathering knot. You can take those 4 cords, separate them, shake them from the rest, and we'll get started. Okay, friend, to make a square knot, you're going to take those 4 cords and separate them. The 2 in the center stay together. So they stay together. I kind of pinch them between a couple of my extra fingers there. Keep them kind of tight. You're not going to use them. Your knot will just be tied around them. So they stay in the center of your knot the whole time. We're going to be using the left and right cord to tie our knots the whole time through. I like to hold my hands kind of close to the top so I have less pulling to do. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Find the comfortable position for your hands when you're tying the square knot. All right, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to make this square knot. So let's take the cord that's in our right hand. Let's pull it with our left hand. So let's pull that cord to the left. It makes like a backwards figure 4 shape, right? So we have that figure 4 shape hanging out on our right side here, this open spot here on our right side. Our left cord that was already in our hand to start with, make sure it's over the 4. So when you pull that 4 shape over, that cord over, make that 4, that cord goes under and your left hand goes over. Very important. So pull that cord over the center cords and your left cord goes over, behind the center, over, behind the center. So your left cord over the 4, behind the center. Once we get that cord, again, left cord goes over, behind the center. We're going to pull it through with our right hand, that loop of the 4 shape. We're going to pull that cord all the way through with our right hand. Once you pull it through, again, the center cords stay still. You don't move them. You're going to wiggle those outside cords. Wiggle, 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 all the way to the top. Now that is half of a square knot. You did it. Congratulations. Half of a square knot is done. Let's do the other half now and really complete that square knot. All right, the other half of the square knot is the exact same thing, but reverse, and the backwards way. So we did the front way, we did the forwards way. That's using our right hand to make the 4. Now we're going to flip it. Use our left hand to make that 4 shape and pull with our right. Now it actually looks like a 4, right? So we're going to pull with our right hand, keeping that right cord this time. That right cord is over that 4 shape, behind the center and through. So again, pull that left cord over to the right. Take our right cord over the 4, behind the center, and then you can go ahead and pinch that knot if you need to. Pull that left cord all the way through that new left cord. Yes, good job. Shimmy it, wiggle it. And once you're up at the top, there's your first square knot. That's a nice little square right there. Good job. Now, remember when I said this process gets a little meditative, you can kind of relax into it? This square knot, the same exact thing that we have just done, we are going to do 10 times on each group of 4. 10 square knots on each group of 4. Now, the way that we count our square knots is by this little tiny vertical line here on the edge. I call it a line, an edge, a nub, whatever you want to call it. This little tiny vertical line. See how there's one here and not one here? This is one knot. You can't see it on this side, so you know that this is one complete knot. So if I were to count all the way down, I would count on the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's how I know I'm done with this group of square knots. You can go ahead and cruise through, or you can hang with me, or you can just watch that clip over again and see how to do it so that you really get the hang of it. Okay, so we have one square knot done. I'm going to show you a full square knot now with no breaks so that you can see the whole process all together at once. So the right side makes that 4 and you pull with your left. Pull with your left hand. Your left cord goes over, behind, and you pull that one through with your right hand. Pull it, pull it, pull it. Good. And take those outside cords, shimmy, shimmy. Hold those middle ones tight if you want to. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Good. All right. And now we're doing the reverse. Left hand makes the 4, right hand pulls. Right hand pulls across. Right cord goes over the 4, behind the center, and we pull it through. Again, 4 on that left side. Right cord goes over, behind, and pull it, pull it, pull it. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. There you go. All right, y'all, let's get in a groove here and let's start making a few at once. So we're going to use our right hand again and make that 4 shape by pulling with our left. Left hand goes over, behind, and pull through with your right. And wiggle it up. Create that half of a knot. We're going to make the same thing but backwards. Take our right cord, push it behind and through. Good, good. So that is one full knot. So now I have 1, 2, 3, right? I have 3 knots. Now, if I get confused and I forget which one I started with, which place I'm at, that's fine. How you know which side to make that 4 shape on is where that edge is. So this edge right here is on the right. So I am going to make a 4 on that right side. That empty space of the 4 will be on that right side. That's my next knot that I pull through. All right. So again, for example, if I got lost and I didn't remember which side I'm on next, the edge now is on this left side, right? So I have this edge, this vertical line on the left side. That's the side that my 4 will be on, my 4 shape. That open space will be on that side. So that's the side that gets pulled over, and then ultimately that's the side that I pull towards at the end. That pull all the way at the end. That creates that knot. Now, when you get going with this, you will start kind of getting in a groove. Then your right hand will pull and your left hand will pull. And then your right hand will pull through and your left hand will pull. So you're going to get the hang of it. You're going to kind of have your own groove there. Just count your knots by going down that right side, and we're going to go all the way to 10. Alrighty, friend. So we have our first row of square knots. Congratulations, you did a wonderful job. You have now mastered the square knot. You had so much fun with it. We have 3 more to go. So we'll take the next section of 4 cords. Right next to that one at the top, just pick 4 that are kind of close to it, snug up there. And we're just going to do the same thing. So if you want to just go for it, you don't have to follow along. You can pause this, whatever you're feeling. We're just going to do the same thing for 10 square knots. So pull with your left to make that figure 4 on the right. Left hand goes over the 4 behind and pull that cord through with your right hand. Shimmy it up. Opposite thing on the left side. Pull with your right. Right cord goes over, behind, and pull through with your left. Shimmy that one up as well. And that makes your first square knot up top. All right, friend, so you have your first 2 sections of your square knots done. Now, as you can see, I have 10 on each, and mine look a little bit different lengthwise. I've tied 10 knots. What you can do is hold the center of your longer one and kind of scrunch up your shorter one, and then they become the same length. Or you can pull on your shorter one and pull it down to become the same length as your longer one. But you can adjust those once you're done, so nothing is permanent here. Don't be afraid to take out some knots if you need to, or whatever you need to do to get that to be the way that you want it to be. This is your creation. Once you love them, go ahead and take your hoop, flip it, and now we have some more cords to work with. I'm going to do the same exact thing, and I'll meet you when we're done. All right, so let me show you the end of that last clip a little slower this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I unintentionally tied 11 knots on this side. If you just pull that little horizontal, you have 2 horizontal lines in each knot. If you just pull that little horizontal line and then pull the next one, you will have untied a square knot. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 knots. Let me kind of shimmy them to see if they're even. They look pretty good. I can scoot them up, scoot them down, whatever I need to do. You have just completed your first step of this plant hanger. And I am so proud of you because square knots are really fun, but they're a little tricky to get the hang of, and you did it. So pat yourself on the back, and we're going to head on to the next section. Let's do it. All right, so the top portion of our plant hangers are complete. Now we are on to this fun bottom portion that creates this basket shape, this kind of holder for our plant, right? So this is really what keeps it in place here. Our first fun step to this is our spiral knots. Now check these out. They're beautiful and they're so fun to do. They are half of a square knot repeated over and over and over again. And you guys already know how to do that. So I'm going to show you, but I bet you're going to pick it up like it's nothing because you are pros at square knots by now. So spirals, they're super easy. Let's get going and then I can show you how easy they actually are. Okay, so first things first, we need to know where to start this section because it's kind of floating, right? Before we had that gathering knot that we worked from and added onto, but now these spirals are floating in midair. So we need to know how far down on our cords to go. I do kind of a little funny measurement. I always have my arms on me, right? We always have our body on us, but I don't always have a tape measure. So I measure from my wrist down to about my elbow. So about this distance is going to be how far I go until I start my spirals. You can choose to make it shorter. You can choose to make it a little bit longer, but it's up to you. And this is pretty standard for about any size pot. This will hold it. So I would recommend just sticking real close to that for today. And then next time you can expand on it a little bit more. All right, so choosing our cords is key here. So if you check it out, up top here, I have my square knot sections. I am going to take 2 from one and 2 from the other. So I get half of each square knot, bring it down, that's my spiral. So each of your square knots gets split in half and creates a spiral. And this alternating motion is what's going to create this really pretty pattern and also that basket shape that helps to hold your plant. So you can go ahead and do that now. You can take your first section, split half and half, and bring it down. Now again, measure with your body, eyeball it, whatever you want to do, but we're going to create our first part of our spiral knot, and it's just the first part of our square knot, the exact same thing you've been doing over and over again. Let me show you. Okay, so just like before, we are going to start this out like a square knot. So our center 2, stay still. Our outside cords are our working cords. We are going to take that right cord, that's going to make a 4, so we're going to pull it with our left hand across. Makes a big 4, right? A really long one. And then our left cord goes over that 4 shape, behind the center 2, and through that long 4 shape. All right, so this is the fun part. You get to pick how high or how low you want those spiral knots to start. Now, I again measure with my body. I kind of make it the length of my forearm. It's up to you, but you choose where you want that to start. You kind of can like adjust it however you want to, and then once you have your spot, we'll keep going. And this is why I love spiral knots so much. They're so fun. You just keep doing the same thing over and over. So again, same thing. Pull with that left hand, pull that right cord over. Left cord goes over the 4, behind and through. Same exact thing that you've been doing. It's just that first half of the square knot. Now this second knot in your spiral knot really solidifies it. It puts it in place. So if you don't like where that is, you can adjust it just by pulling that horizontal line and just kind of shimmying all of it down or up wherever you want it to be. But once you do that second spiral knot, that is a set location for your spiral. So make sure you love it and then just keep going and I'll meet you on the other side. All right, let's go over that a few times real time. So again, making that backwards 4, left cord goes over, behind, and through, and we pull and we shimmy up. Now, every single time that we pull through, we're pulling on our right side. If you feel your left hand pull a cord, you accidentally did a full square knot. So you can take that one out and just go back, get in the groove, and do your spirals every single time. We are pulling with our right hand. There is no right or wrong number here of spirals. So I'm not going to have you count every single one. But the easy way to know a distance here is to kind of get that first one set at about the same length as your square knot section up top. That's an easy way to base that distance here for this first section. So just kind of eyeball it, and then we'll do all the other sections about the same. All right, so I'm on to my next section. I just finished this one of spirals, and you can see it's a little bit longer than my example plant hanger, and it's a little bit further down too, and that's okay. It really does not matter how long it is. It is up to you. This is your masterpiece. This is your creation, and there is no right or wrong here. So you decide how long you want it to be. Try to keep it around the same length as your top square knot section. And once you have it to a place where you are happy with it, we're going to move on to the next section. So all we have to do is, again, split our knots in half, and we'll keep going. So our next section right over is our next 4 cords, and we're going to do the same thing. Start that spiral knot and kind of shimmy it so it starts at the same place as our first section of spiral knots. We want these to line up, so once you do the second one, it really locks it. So just like before, just like in this first section of spirals that we just did, we are going to repeat that knot over and over and over again, and you are always pulling with your right hand. If you feel yourself pull with your left hand, you know you made a square knot. Go back, take it out, get back in your groove, and really relax into it. We want to just get a nice little spiral going on so you can enjoy this process, and I will meet you for the next one. All right, friend, so all 4 sections of your spiral knots are done. I am proud of you. I don't know if you're proud of yourself, but you should be. So take a second, congratulate yourself because you just did that and they look amazing. So what you need to do now is check the bottom of every single one and make sure they end at about the same spot. It doesn't have to be perfect, just around the same area. If one is too long, one is too short, you can just remove a knot or add a knot, whatever you need to do to adjust. Now's the time to do that. And then we're going to get going on this next section, which is our square knots. Okay, so my fun little word of advice for this bottom section of square knots is to make sure your spirals are straight. Now, they can get really, really twisted when we make them, right? And they can all twist up. How do we make sure that they're straight? Well, I will show you. So our square knots up top, each one can be separated from the other. So if I take my hand between my square knot rows and bring it down, that should split my spiral right in half. So if I take my hand at the top, between my square knot rows, bring it down, that should split my spiral right in half, and that direction is the front. So from here, we're going to split the bottom of the spiral in half, and we're going to split the bottom of its neighbor in half, the exact same. All right, so going into this next section of square knots, we want to take half of one spiral, half of the other spiral, and that is going to be the 4 cords that create our next square knot. Now these are floating again, and they are floating about 3 fingers distance down from those spirals or so, but you get to pick how far down you want them to go. The bigger space that you leave here, the larger basket or plant or pot it can accommodate. So if you leave like a full palm's distance, then it will have a lot of room to expand. So this is really what determines how much size that this plant hanger can hold. So this is up to you. I will show you what I'm going to do and you get to pick. All right, so I am going to measure mine by like 3 or 4 fingers down from my spirals. I'll create a nice size space for my plant to hang in. And so here we go. So let's use those 4 cords and let's create a square knot by pulling that right cord to the left side with our left hand. Left hand with the left cord goes over the 4, behind the center, and we pull with our right hand. Easy. We've just been doing spirals, same exact thing. That's about good for me. So we need to do the opposite now. We haven't done this in a while. So we are going to pull with our right hand and we're going to create that 4 shape on the left side. Our right cord goes over that, behind the center, and we're going to pull with our left side. And go ahead and shimmy that up. If you don't like where that is, you can adjust it. If you do want to adjust it, if you do decide you want it a little higher, a little lower, all you have to do is grab the edge and grab the edge and just kind of loosen that knot. Then the looser you get it, you can pull it to get it lower. Or if you loosen the knot again, you can push it, kind of tighten it up there to get it higher. So it is up to you where you place this. Oop, got my cord switched. It is up to you where you place this knot, but love it when you put it there. Love it, love the placement of it, because that's where every single one is going to be. All right, 3 more square knots, here we go. So again, start from the top, split your way down, decide that that's about the front of that spiral, pick half, and then half of its neighbor. Here we go. All right, square knot time. 1 more. And try to get it nice and even with your first one. Good, good. And then check and make sure if it's even. If it's not, you can always do it again. You can always adjust it. You have endless time to do this. So take your time on it and really, really get it where you want it to be. We want you to love your masterpiece today, your final outcome. All right, here's our third one. Good, good. And our fourth one. And I will meet you when you're done. Okay, friend, so we have made it to our final finishing touch today for our lovely plant hanger. So what we want to do is make another gathering knot. Now, we did this way back in the beginning, but it's been a while, so let's go over it again. We want to create this gathering knot to create a final heavy-duty knot that will really hold that plant into place. So all we have to do is make sure this is all straight first, kind of, pull it out, make sure it's straight. Good, good. All right. All we have to do is start that gathering knot about the same distance between the square knot as it is between the spiral. So estimate the distance there. Once we have our distance kind of marked, I like to mark it by pinching that spot with my thumb, we're going to find that last cord, that last lonely cord that we put to the side, grab the end of it, and pinch it with your thumb in that spot where you want your knot to start. We still need a tail hanging up. Remember last time we did that up through the hoop? We need a tail hanging up. And you're going to take the bottom of that cord, you're going to take the rest of that cord in your hand, and the bottom of that cord is going to make a loop. It's going to make a loop that's a little bit longer than your hand's length, but not too long. And pinch that again up at that spot where your thumb is. And go ahead and take the rest of that cord and just wrap it around. Make sure your tail is still sticking up here, right? We still have a little fluffy tail up top. And you can keep wrapping it. We're just going to keep wrapping it all the way down to our loop. Okay, we are back at the bottom of another gathering knot. We have a tail of extra string here that we have just wrapped around all the way down to the bottom, and we have a little bit of our loop left as well at the bottom. Thread your tail through the loop. Good, good. All right. So now your tail is through the loop there, and you can go ahead and pull that top tail all the way, pull it, pull it, pull it, and you will see there's a knot right here. You'll see it sneak up through. There you go. And it's likely that you'll have a tail on the bottom still, so you can go ahead and pull both really snug. That'll tie that knot real tight for you. If your tail did pull up through, that's okay. We just don't want it to go all the way through. So let's cut off our tails and finish our plant hanger. All right, find your scissors and cut the bottom of your plant hanger. I call this the fringe. Cut it as long as you want. This one, they're at different lengths, so it's a little hard to judge right now, but this one would be about down to here. But it doesn't have to be any particular length. You could leave it super long. You could cut it really short. I usually say at least the length of your gathering knot. So see how big your gathering knot is. At least go that length, maybe a little longer. You can always, always, always cut it shorter. So like a haircut, cut it a little longer than you want. Make it shorter if you need to. And then once you get to the bottom, take that fluffy fringe in one hand, take the other hand, and fluff it up. And there you go. It gives it a nice fringy look. And you have just completed your plant hanger. You did it. I need you to take a second and just congratulate yourself. I'm really proud of you. It's not the easiest thing to do. Making macrame takes time, it takes patience, and you did that today. I am so, so proud of you, and also so grateful that you came to me to teach you how to do it. I love this, and I love showing people how to make macrame. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm at Rosie the Wanderer on Instagram. My name's Eliza. You can call me Rosie if you want. And I want to answer any questions you have. I'll tell you where to get the cord, other ideas of what you can make. But definitely take a second and just revel in what you just did. Look at your plant hanger, hold it up, throw your favorite plant in it and put it somewhere you see it every day. You can find more about me at rosiethewanderer.com and on Instagram, Rosie the Wanderer. Thanks for hanging with me today, and I will see you soon.